Imagine you live in a city that has two taxi companies, a blue taxi company that runs 90% of the taxis and a green taxi company that runs only 10% of the taxis. Now imagine that you're sitting in a jury about a hit and run accident where a taxi has hit a cyclist. And there's a witness who says that he's certain it was a green taxi. And the defense says that it was dark, that it would be almost impossible to distinguish between a green and a blue taxi. And the judge orders a test on the witness's ability to distinguish colors. So, based on a judge's order, the witness was tested on his ability to distinguish between blue and green under the same dark conditions that prevailed during the accident. He was pretty good at identifying both colors, blue and green. 80% of the time, he identified the color correctly. We know you cannot be 100% certain, but which taxi is most likely to be guilty of having caused this accident?
If you are like most people, you'd say the accident was caused by a green taxi. We have a witness who demonstrated an accuracy of 80%. If you agree with this reasoning, you've just displayed a known bias called the base rate neglect. That's when people take into account new information about a specific case, but they forget to take into account what's more broadly true, like the fact that there are far more blue taxis operating in the city, which is the base rate. A little bit of math can show this. To make it easy, let's imagine there are 100 taxis operating in that city, and any one of them could have been involved in the accident. So that means there are 90 blue taxis the witness might have seen. And since he was right 80% of the time, it means he would have correctly identified 72 of them, but misidentified the other 18. Similarly, there were 10 green taxis, and since his accuracy is 80%, he would have correctly identified 8 of them. We know the witness says that the taxi was green. This means either he's right and he saw one of the 8 green taxis, or he's wrong and he saw one of these 18 blue taxis that he got wrong. So as you can see, it is more than twice as likely, 18 versus 8, that he misidentified, meaning he was wrong. So most people forget to take into account the base rates. This math is an application of the Bayes rule or the Bayes theorem. If you know the probability of one thing and you know the probability of another thing that depends on the first thing, you multiply the two together if you want to know the overall probability. Now, something very important. Don't confuse the probability of him seeing a green taxi with the probability of him being right. Could you have made better defensible decisions relying on common sense alone? Probably not.